So here the Java is most commonly used programming language because of its features and its advantage. Dear student, you may ask me that I am fine with theory part, then what about practicals? In this subject, we are going to have practicals. Hello, hi, namaste. A heartily welcome to my first introductory session on object-oriented programming using VOYAC. So dear student, don't get confused here because why I'm going to use the word VOYAC. So here VOYAC is nothing but the another name for Java. That means initially the Java program was identified by the name VOYAC. Now tell me what is Java. So here Java is nothing but the coffee beans name in Indonesia. The coffee beans name in Indonesia itself called Java, because here Java is nothing but the coffee beans name. I'm Revati, faculty, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, 1st grade college, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So at the beginning, I'm going to deal with prerequisites. That means what are the pre-requirement I require to understand this Java programming. Along with that, I'm going to discuss the learning outcome of this subject. Along with that, I'm going to discuss what are the different units comes under this subject. Along with that, I'm going to discuss the question paper pattern as well as internals pattern. And at the end, I'm going to discuss about the lab program. So dear student, in my today's session, at the beginning, I'm going to discuss the prerequisites. Then I'm going to discuss learning outcome, units, internals as well as question paper, and at the end, lab programs. So dear student, now tell me what is Java programming. In this session, we are going to discuss object-oriented programming using Java. So here Java is nothing but the general purpose high-level programming language. And this programming language is mainly designed to deal with real world problems. So here Java is one of the most commonly used programming language. Because of its features and advantages, the Java is most commonly used in Android programming. So here what is Android? So Android is nothing but the operating system which is especially designed for mobile phones. So here the Java is most commonly used programming language. Because of the advantages and features of Java, the Java is mainly used by the Android programming. Now, what is Android? Here Android is nothing but the operating system which is especially designed for mobile phones. So now tell me who invented or who developed Java programming. So here the Java programs are developed by James Gosling. I repeat, here the Java programs are developed by the James Gosling in the year 1991. And what is the initial name of Java programming? That is nothing but the VOYAC. And where it is developed, that is by the Sun microsystem. I repeat, the Java programs were initially developed by the Sun microsystem, and later in the year 1995, the VOAC is renamed by the name Java by the company Oracle Corporation. So this is the history about the Java programming. Dear student, to understand this Java program, you does not require any pre-requirement, because I'm going to start this Java program from the scratch. That means I'm going to start with what is the history of Java, how the Java is evaluated, and what are the different types of data types we are going to have, how to write the Java program, how to compile, how to debug, and what are the data types, how to write the first Java program. Everything I'm going to start from the scratch. So to understand this subject, you does not require any pre-requirement. So the pre-requirement of this subject here is 0, because I'm going to start from the scratch. So dear student, you does not require any prerequisites for this subject, because I'm going to start from the scratch. Moving further, I'm going to have the learning outcome. That means, suppose once I done with all 4 units, then you can able to appreciate the need for object-oriented programming. That means, as the subject name itself indicates, that once again we are going to have object-oriented programming using Java, because we already studied object-oriented programming, that is nothing but the C++. So there the language is nothing but the C++. Here we are going to have Java. So here we can able to appreciate the need for object-oriented programming. Then we can able to compare the object-oriented programming with procedural programming. That means, what are the advantages of object-oriented programming with procedural programming. Then we can also very easily identify the advantages of object-oriented programming. That means, here we can able to identify the advantages of object-oriented programming with procedural programming along with the structural programming. Then you can also very easily identify the applications of object-oriented programming. Then you can also able to identify and recognize what is classes and what is object. Along with that, once you are going to thorough with the object-oriented programming language using Java. That means, once you are very thorough with Java, then you can able to develop any kind of software that is capable to run on mobile phone, desktops, etc. Along with that, you can also able to develop a program or software that is capable to run on server machines. So these are the learning outcome of Java program. That means, while studying Java program, start from the scratch. And once you thorough with Java program, then you can able to write any other kind of programming like C++ or .NET, because these two are the example for object-oriented programming language. Moving further, I'm going to have the first unit. As I told, I'm going to start from the scratch. So at the beginning of our unit, I'm going to have introduction to Java. That is nothing but the fundamentals about the Java programming. There we are going to discuss Java evolution. Then we are going to have the discussion regarding Java history. That is nothing but the history of Java program along with the features of Java. That means how the Java programming is different from other programming language. Then we are going to have Java features. That means how the Java program is completely different from other programming language. Then we are going to have how Java differs from C and C++ program, along with that overview of a Java program. That means here overview of Java program or language is nothing but the fundamentals of Java language. That means how to define the variable, how to define the data structure, how to write the first Java program, then how to compile the first Java program, along with that how to write the loops, how to write the condition statement. Everything we are going to deal under overview of Java language. So here, as I told, what's the logo of Java language? That is nothing but the coffee mug. So here the Java is identified by the name OAC. What is OAC? OAC is nothing but the first name of Java program, and Java is nothing but the coffee beans name in Indonesia, and the logo of Java is nothing but the coffee mug. Then where we can able to use the Java language, that is in the field of framework. That means here Java comes with the framework, as well as it is also used in the field of big data. Along with that, Java is also used in the field of Android programming, as well as it is also used for continuous testing, as well as Java is also used in the field of web development. That is nothing but once you're done with Java language, then you can able to design your own framework, or you can able to write big data codes, as well as you can able to develop your own Android operating system, or you can able to perform different kinds of testing. Along with that, you can able to become a web developer. So this is the advantage of learning Java language. In my next unit, we are going to have arrays, strings, vectors, and interface. Dear student, in our C program, we studied what is array, what is string. But same concept once again we are going to study under Java. In Java, we can able to define the array, we can able to define the strings, and we can able to define the vectors, as well as we can able to write the interface. At the same time, it is object-oriented programming using Java. That means once again we are going to have objects and classes in my Java language. So I can able to create classes as well as objects and the methods. Then I can also able to study or write arrays, strings as well as vectors. Then I can able to create interface and I can able to write the inheritance. So what is inheritance? That means reusability. That means whenever I want to use the same code again and again, that time I'm going to use inheritance. That means here Java supports multiple inheritance. These are the certain topics which comes under second unit, and we are going to study in depth about how to write the arrays, how to define the strings, how to create the vectors, and how to provide the interface in depth in my upcoming sessions. So here, what is class and what is object? That is illustrated with the help of this diagram. So here, car is nothing but the class. That means think that I'm going to have the factory and I'm going to produce the car. That means I'm going to manufacture the cars. So then what are the properties of car I'm going to have? That is color and the type of car. These are the properties. So here car class is nothing but the factory. So here the factory itself called class. Then these are the properties of car, that is nothing but the object. So I'm going to have green color car, then red color car or blue color car. These are the objects of car class. So dear student, I'm going to explain in depth about what is class, what is the access specifier, how to define the access specifier, how to create the object, how to define the methods, member function, data members, everything in depth in my second unit. Then I'm going to have third unit. Under third unit, we are going to have packages and multi-threaded programming. So what is thread? Suppose if I am going to have one program, then it is called thread. Suppose if I want to have more than one program, then it is multi-threaded program. That means in order to manage multiple programs together, Java supports multi-threaded programming. In my third unit, I'm going to have package, then I'm going to have multi-threaded programming. Under this, I'm going to have Java API. What is API? That is Application Program Interface Package. So here packages are classified into two types, that is user defined package and inbuilt packages. That means Java supports two types of package, that is user defined package and inbuilt package. So in third unit, we are going to study in depth about user defined package as well as built-in, that is inbuilt package in depth. Along with that, we are going to write some of the programs for multi-threaded programming. Along with that, we are going to have errors and exceptions. That means if I write any program, I'm going to have certain error. In order to handle that error, I'm going to have exception. So here inside the exception, I'm going to have try, catch, etc. So in my third unit, I'm going to study in depth about how to handle the error, how to write the exception, everything in depth. Moving further, I'm going to have fourth unit. Under fourth unit, I'm going to have applet programming, graphic programming, and input and output. That means here applet programming is nothing but the small program. Here we are going to study in depth about how to create and write applet program. Along with that, the different life cycle of applet programming. That means at the beginning, I'm going to have introduction about the applet programming, then how the applet program is different from other application, how to write the applet programs, then how to build the applet code and the life cycle of applet. Along with that, once again we are going to have graphics programming, that is graphical user interface. That means how we can able to create graphical user interface with the help of Java. Along with that, how to manage input and output files in Java. These are the certain topics we are going to study in depth in the fourth unit. So here this is the life cycle of applet. That means applet includes 4 different life cycle, that is start, init, stop and destroy. Anyway, in my upcoming session, I'm going to deal with applet life cycle in depth. So dear student, in this subject, I'm going to have 4 units. At the beginning, we are going to have fundamentals of Java programming. That is nothing but the history, evaluation of Java program, then features of Java. Then we are going to study how to write the Java program, how to debug, how to compile, what is the data type, how to define the data type, then the scope of the variables, how to write the conditional statement, how to write the looping statement, what are the different kinds of arithmetic expression, logical expression. I'm going to have everything we are going to study in our first unit. Then in our second unit, once again we are going to study what is class, what is object, how to define the class, how to call the object, how to define the object, how to create the array, string, vectors, etc. Then in our third unit, we are going to have packages and how to write the multi-threaded programming. In our fourth chapter, we are going to have applet programming, graphic programming and input and output. So these are the some of the interesting topic we are going to study in this subject. So to understand this subject, you does not require any pre-requirement, because here we are going to start from the scratch and we are going to study step by step. And once I cover all 4 units, then you can able to write your own Java programs. Moving further, I'm going to have internal pattern. That means especially for this subject, we are going to have 3 internals, that is internals 1, internals 2 and internals 3, and each internals carries 20 marks. And while finalizing your internals, please remember this, that means the max marks That is, final marks will be awarded on average of 2 internals. That means while finalizing your internal mark, the mark is based on the average of 2 internals. Moving further, I am going to have the question paper pattern. That means in this subject, we are going to have 2 sections, that is part A and part B. In part A, I am going to have 12 questions. Out of 12 questions, I need to answer 10 questions and each question carries 2 marks. That is 10 into 2, it is 20 marks. And in part B, that is nothing but this section B, I am going to have 1, 2, 3 and 4 questions. So here once again I am going to have 1A, 1B, 1C and 1D. That means here from A and B I am going to have 15 marks. Once again in C and D I am going to have 15 marks. That means I want to answer first question A and B or first question C and D. Whereas in my second question, once again I am going to have A, B, C and D. And A, B are grouped together and it carries 15 marks. C, D are grouped together and it carries 15 marks. And while answering for second question, either I want to answer A and B or C and D. Like that, I'm going to have 4 questions and each question carries 15 marks. That means here the 15 marks are once again subdivided into 7 plus 8 or 10 plus 5. So it carries 60 marks. That means 4 into 15, it is 60 marks. So dear student, from the examination point of view, you are going to have 80 mark theory paper. That means we are going to write the theory paper for 80 marks, and part A it carries 20 marks and part B it carries 60 marks. That is 20 plus 60, it is nothing but 80 marks, and it is very easy to score 80 out of 80 in this subject. So dear student, what is my suggestion here is, while studying any programming language, don't mug up the programming language. That means you want to understand the concept, you want to understand the semantics and syntax of any programming language. Then you can able to write your own program. So dear student, what is my suggestion here is, you want to understand the logic, you want to understand the syntax and you want to understand the semantic. Don't go for by heart or mug up. Instead of that, try to understand the logic and try to write the program by yourself. Then it is very easy to write the programs in any programming language. That is not only Java, you can write your own program in any programming language like C, C++ or .NET. Dear student, you may ask me that I am fine with theory part, then what about practicals? In this subject, we are going to have practicals. That means we are going to have lab session, and the lab session includes part A as well as part B. That means under part A, we are going to have certain step of programs, and under part B, we are going to have certain set of program, and I'm going to deal these lab programs in my lab session. Then you may get the doubt that which textbook I want to refer to study this subject. That is, what is the Bible for this subject? The Bible for this subject is nothing but the programming language with Java by the author Balaguru Swami. In this textbook, everything is written so clearly and so neatly and so easily that everyone can very easily understand and learn Java program. Dear student, instead of referring some other textbook, my suggestion is that please refer this textbook. Dear students, once you cover all 4 units, then you can very easily identify the different versions of Java. That is Java Standard Edition. Then we are going to have Java Enterprise Edition. Then we are going to have Java Micro Edition. So here Java Standard Edition is the application which is mainly used to develop the application for desktop system. Then we are going to have Java Standard Edition, and this is developed to run applications, that is for desktop systems. Then we are going to have Enterprise Edition. That means it is mainly used to design server-side application. Then we are going to have Micro Edition. That is nothing but the Java Micro Edition. This is mainly used to design and develop mobile applications. So these are some of the editions of Java program. So once I cover all 4 units properly, then you can able to differentiate the different editions of Java program. Then we are going to have J, R, E, J, D, K, J, V, M. So what is Java runtime environment? What is Java development kit? What is Java virtual machine? These are the 3 important concepts which comes under Java program. Because of these 3 important points, the Java is different from other programming language. And Java gives bytecode. What is bytecode? What is JRE? What is JDK? What is JVM? Everything I'm going to discuss in depth in my next upcoming sessions. Dear student, in my coming session, I'm going to discuss why Java is platform independent. Along with that, I'm going to discuss some more information and interesting concept about Java. Until then, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.